Black woman came to clean and found a crying baby. When the millionaire saw his son see. Beginning. Kiana Turner never imagined her life would lead her to scrubbing the glass walls of a man who practically owned half of New Chicago. She had been a nurse once, before automation replaced most of her job, before the hospital decided that androids with diagnostic lenses were more cost-efficient than human touch. Now, she worked as a cleaner, bouncing from contract to contract, carrying her worn satchel of supplies and her dignity intact. The contract of that day had her heading to the Sky Spire, a tower so tall it vanished into clouds. It belonged to Nathaniel Cross, one of the wealthiest men in America, an investor in biotech, space travel, and artificial intelligence. His penthouse was rumored to be so vast it took an hour just to walk across. Yet most whispered that Nathaniel himself hadn't set foot in it for months. He lived more on private jets and orbital stations and aboard experimental submarines than anywhere grounded. Kiana wasn't supposed to ask questions. The agency gave her the code to access his home, and that was enough. But when the elevator doors slid open on the 99th floor, and she stepped into the cavernous penthouse, silence pressed on her chest. It was a kind of silence that only vast, empty spaces knew, cold, perfect, untouched. She tied her hair back, pulled on her gloves, and got to work. Half an hour in, she was polishing a glass wall that looked out over the shimmering skyline when she heard it. A cry, soft at first, but insistent. Her heart stuttered. She froze, listening. The cry rose again, higher, unmistakable. A baby. Kiana set down her rag and followed the sound, her sneakers squeaking on the marble floor. The penthouse was a maze of corridors and darkened rooms. Eventually, she found herself standing before a door slightly ajar, light spilling through the crack. She pushed it open gently. Inside was a nursery. She blinked in shock. A crib sat in the center, surrounded by plush toys and hollow mobiles that projected floating stars. And inside the crib, kicking and red-faced, was an infant no older than 6 months. "Oh my God," Kiana whispered, stepping closer. "What are you doing here, little one?" The baby wailed, reaching tiny fists into the air. Instinct took over. She lifted him carefully, rocking him against her chest. His skin was warm, his body trembling with need. Kiana, who once comforted patients in their weakest moments, felt the old habits flood back, gentle humming, soft swaying, soothing words. But questions gnawed at her. Why was there a baby here? Whose child was he? And why was he alone? Middle. Kiana searched the nursery for clues. She found formula bottles in a mini fridge, half-used diapers stacked in a bin, and a holographic tablet sitting on a table. She tapped it awake. A name glowed across the screen. Project Helix. Her brows furrowed. Scrolling, she found encrypted medical notes, progress charts, and strange genetic diagrams. Some were labeled cross industries. Private. And one entry chilled her. Subject, Helix Alpha. Status, accelerated growth successful. Neurodevelopment on track. Emotional regulation protocols incomplete. Caretaker AI malfunction noted. Kiana's eyes darted to the baby in her arms. His wide eyes were staring at her now, calmer, curious. He wasn't just any baby. He was something else. The front door chimed. Kiana startled, clutching the baby tighter. The penthouse security system announced in a calm female voice. "Welcome, Nathaniel Cross." Her stomach lurched. The man himself. Within moments, a tall figure entered the nursery doorway. Nathaniel Cross was even more striking than his photos. Sharp suit, silver streaked hair, eyes like storm clouds calculating every detail in an instant. But when those eyes landed on the child in Kiana's arms, his entire body stiffened. "Kiana Turner?" His voice was clipped cold. "Why are you holding my son?" Kiana's lips parted. "Your son?" For the first time, she saw something flicker across Nathaniel's face. Not pride, not warmth, fear. He strode into the room, demanding, "Give him to me." But the baby began crying again, clutching at Kiana's shirt, refusing to let go. Nathaniel froze, his hand outstretched, trembling slightly. It was then Kiana realized this wasn't a man used to holding children. He didn't know how. Her nurse's instinct kicked in, overriding fear of losing her job. "He's hungry," she said firmly, and terrified. "When was the last time you fed him? Held him? He needs comfort, not experiments." Nathaniel's jaw tightened. "You don't understand." "Then explain it to me." For a long moment, silence stretched between them. The only sound was the baby's whimpers, softening against her. Finally, Nathaniel exhaled and sat heavily in a chair. "He isn't supposed to be here yet," he admitted quietly. "Helix is the prototype, the first of his kind. My company has been developing accelerated genetic engineering. He is my blood. Yes, but also something more. He represents the future of humanity." Kiana's heart hammered. "The future? He's a baby. He's your son." He doesn't need to be a project, Mr. Cross. Nathaniel looked at her, pain flickering in his eyes. You think I don't know that? Do you think I wanted this? His mother, she's gone. Complications. All I have left of her is him. And I don't know how to be what he needs. The billionaire who commanded nations, who had robots mining asteroids and colonies on the moon, suddenly looked small, human, broken. Kiana shifted the baby to one arm and stepped closer. Then learn, because right now he's crying for you. She placed the child into Nathaniel's arms before he could protest. The baby squirmed, fussed, then settled, tiny fingers curling into his father's shirt. Nathaniel's breath caught. His face softened in disbelief, as though he just witnessed a miracle. For the first time, his son stopped crying. Rising conflict. But peace didn't last. As Kiana prepared to leave, Nathaniel stopped her. Stay. She turned. Excuse me? You cared for him better than any machine, better than I have. If you walk out now, he loses the only real comfort he's known. I need you here. Kiana hesitated. She had debts, rent overdue, and a daughter of her own at home. But something in Nathaniel's voice, desperation perhaps, pulled at her. What exactly are you asking, Mr. Cross? I'm asking you to help me raise him, to help me learn, to be part of this experiment, if that's what you want to call it, but not as staff, as family. Kiana's breath caught. Family? For a man like him, those words meant worlds. She agreed to stay, for a week at first. That week turned into 2, then 3. She showed Nathaniel how to feed, change rock, and sue his son. She watched as the billionaire softened, as board meetings were cut short because Helix needs me. She saw a man transforming, but she also discovered the truth about Project Helix. The baby wasn't just accelerated in growth. His mind was developing faster than nature intended. By 6 months, he was stringing together syllables. By 8, he was solving puzzles designed for adults. At 10, he began asking questions about death, time, and galaxies. Nathaniel was proud, but Kiana was afraid. No child should bear the weight of such intelligence so soon. And then came the night everything unraveled. Cross-industry security stormed the penthouse, demanding custody of Helix. The board had decided Nathaniel was unfit to raise the child, claiming emotional compromise. They wanted to take Helix to a laboratory. Kiana grabbed the boy, now toddling but already speaking in full sentences, and clutched him close. Nathaniel stood before them, refusing to step aside. He's my son, Nathaniel growled. He's our property, the security chief replied coldly. Helix's small voice broke through the chaos. Papa, don't let them take me. And Nathaniel Cross, the man who once thought himself too broken to hold his child, made his choice. Ending. The escape was chaos, alarms blaring, drones whirring, elevators sealed. Kiana led the way through service corridors, clutching Helix's hand, while Nathaniel hacked security locks with trembling fingers. They made it to the rooftop, city lights blazing below like a sea of stars. Helix clung to his father's leg, terrified. Nathaniel pulled out a communicator, summoning a private craft. But before they could board, security cornered them. Stand down, Cross. Kiana stepped forward, shielding Helix. He's a child, not a weapon. If you take him, you'll destroy everything human in him. Something in her words made even the hardened guards falter. Nathaniel seized a moment, scooping Helix into his arms and boarding the craft. He reached out a hand to Kiana. Come with us, he pleaded. You've already become part of this family. Don't let him lose you, too. Tears burned her eyes. She thought of her daughter at home, of the risk, of the impossible future ahead. But then she looked at Helix, the boy who clung to her like a second mother. She took Nathaniel's hand. The craft lifted into the night, leaving the board, the tower, and the life of silence behind. As the city shrank below, Helix nestled between them, whispering with a voice far older than his years. Now we're safe. Nathaniel looked at Kiana, his expression filled with something she hadn't seen before. Hope. And for the first time in years. So did she...